Welcome back, my beautiful people, to STR News and Digest, your go-to place for everything related to STR, travel, and the business of hospitality. Today, I have it's going to be pretty much, depends on the questions, because I got a couple of questions that I'm going to be answering. And depending on any interaction from people watching, this is probably going to be a fairly short show today. I have been when I say extremely busy, I've been extremely busy. And for those that are in the know and those that know, last week I became a grandfather. So I've been spending a lot of time with my grandson. So it's been an interesting experience. And I just quickly, on a side note about that, I got to tell you, sometimes you get surprised with life, and the way my son and Mariah the way they have grown in the last month or so, and specifically now that the baby's here, I got to tell you, I'm blown away. Extremely mature. They're making the right decisions. Important to me, right, is how they have allowed family and friends to come on and help out. Because some people get really guarded when they have a baby. That part has been really, really nice. Anyways, that's a side note. Let me get to today's STR news and some of the stuff that's going on in the STR world specifically. Let me see if I can get to where I want it to be. Boom, boom, boom. All right, a couple of things before I even get into it. Just a quick reminder, if you're watching live, go ahead and have a question. Go ahead and ask the questions in the comment. Say hi. Let me know where you're watching from. If you're on replay, still ask a question, because I will answer the question during next week's STR News and Digest. And same thing. Let me know where you're watching from. If you are a host, let me know that. And if you are a traveler, let me know that. So I can know, what the ratio is of travelers and hosts on here. And a couple of reminders. I want to plug my Watt Hustle YouTube channel. It's unrelated to pretty much everything I'm doing here, with the exception of the bike rentals that I'm using with my short-term rentals. But if you're interested in e-bikes, and let me tell you, man, I really it's an addiction for me right now. I get up every single day when I say every day, I have not missed a day that I've gotten up early, gotten on my e-bike, and ridden for 3 or 4 hours, depending on the weather, because it's been raining a lot here. But even in the rain, I've been out there riding. In fact, there's one video that I put out that's going to be coming out soon on that channel. I got soaked, people. But nonetheless, if you're interested in that, go ahead and just give that channel a look. And if it's something that you're interested in long-term, then subscribe. But if you're not interested long-term, don't subscribe, please. I want my ratio, my subscriber ratio, not to be super high if I'm not going to get any interaction or any or people watching extensively, right? Like, for example, this specific channel. We have over 12,000 subscribers, but they're off and on, right? Some months we get a lot of views and a lot of engagements, and some months we get none. So, and I just think that I push subscribers or people to subscribe so much on that channel that I got a lot of people to subscribe. But some people they're either not hosts or they don't travel much. So, and they're not really interested in the travel industry. So, again, on my Watt Hustle channel, only subscribe if e-bikes is your thing. If you're interested in e-bikes, if you're interested in side hustles like DoorDash, like Uber Eats, if you're interested in that kind of stuff, or interested in replacing your car with an e-bike, then subscribe to that channel. If not, just look at it, see if something piques your interest. If you're in the market for an e-bike, then look at that channel and then ask me questions about e-bikes on that channel. But that's that. Next reminder, my ebook. If you are a host or you are a business owner, because that ebook, even though we created that ebook specifically for short-term rental operators, I firmly believe that a lot of the principles in marketing in that ebook can be applied to any business. And in fact, those marketing principles are highly important and transferable to any business out there, right? I've always said this, and I don't understand why a lot of people don't really get this point, what I'm about to say. And I didn't get it in the beginning, right? When I first became a business owner, it really wasn't something that really crossed my mind in the very beginning, but I learned the importance of it afterwards. And the importance is this: you need attention, you need eyeballs. This is why marketing is so important, because without a customer, you don't have a business, right? I know so many talented people. I know people that run or have the ability to run phenomenal businesses, but they go bankrupt because no one's coming through the door. And I know the opposite. I know people that have horrible, when I say their product is horrible, their services are horrible, but they're so good at marketing that they're not only surviving, they are thriving. That's how important marketing is. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to create this ebook. In the past, people were pushing me to writing a book on short-term rentals, but I really wasn't motivated. I didn't think it was necessary. It's not really needed, because in the short-term rental industry, it's very niche, and it's very regional, meaning what works for me in South Florida doesn't work for me in Colombia. And what works for me in Colombia doesn't work for me in Spain. So, and that's why I wasn't really ever interested in writing a book about short-term rentals. But when I realized how important marketing was and how it could go through, it's not just for short-term rental operators, it's for any business owner. When I realized the importance of that, that's when I said, okay, that's something I can dedicate time and effort to. And that's what Lorena and I did with this ebook. We spent a lot of time, a lot of effort in creating this ebook. I think it's a very robust ebook. So I want to bring that up so you guys don't forget that ebook is still available. For those that already purchased it, again, thank you from the bottom of my heart for buying the book. The next thing is on my What Hustle channel. We have partnered up with Patriot Crew, which is a t-shirt company. It's a veteran-owned t-shirt company. If you go to that channel and you want to support that channel, and you want to support veterans, especially veterans who are struggling with mental health issues, then go to that channel and buy a t-shirt, please. All right, let's get into the news. First, I want to dive a little deeper from a host impact perspective on the new Airbnb reserve now and pay later. Here's what's interesting about that, right? You see that everywhere now. Just about Amazon does it. Any store kind of does, is doing that now. Any retailer is allowing you to buy something and then either create some kind of payment plan for it for you to purchase it. You see it a lot in high ticket items, right? It's been part of our history for a long time. I know when I was growing up as a kid, they had what was called layaway programs. It's something that you can put aside and make monthly payments until you pay it off, and then you can get that item. They've taken that layaway program to another level, because now they're giving it to you, and they're allowing you to finance just about anything you can think of. You can finance today. So Airbnb just got into this game of doing the same thing. You can reserve it and pay later, but from a host perspective, this is what really take advantage of this, because this can't actually be a benefit. But there's a couple of things that you have to do. Number one, Number one, this program is only available for US listings. So if you're not in the US, this doesn't apply to you because it's not available to you yet. Have a feeling that it will be available to you, especially if this becomes a success. And I think a lot of people are going to take advantage of this, right? So basically, you can reserve something, and once you reserve it, you don't have to pay for it until it's time for that property's cancellation policy kicks in. Now, here's the kicker, though, because this is in the fine print that I didn't see originally. You could only participate as a host, participate in this program if you already have a flexible or moderate cancellation policy. If you have a strict policy, you can't participate in this, obviously, because it doesn't allow someone to reserve and not pay immediately. But if you have a moderate cancellation policy, or more specifically and preferably a flexible policy, then you can participate in this. The other thing that this does not apply to, and this more towards guests, it doesn't apply to experiences or services on Airbnb. It's only for the reservation. But here, guys, if you're a host, here how you can take advantage of this policy. Number one, make sure you have a flexible cancellation policy. I know a lot of you are going to give me pushback on that because you've been giving me pushback on that for years, and I've been telling you Airbnb does not like hosts who have strict policies, so they're not pushing your properties. It is a headache if you have a strict policy. Moderate policies, you're on the fence, right? You're not flexible and you're not strict, but you're on the fence. I still think it's a mistake. I still think you can get more bookings and more people interested in your property if you're flexible. And here's why. The data tells us that the majority, not a few, the majority of people that are looking at Airbnb click the flexible cancellation policy filter. So that's huge, people. So make sure you're flexible, take advantage of this program, but be prepared for cancellations, right? Because a lot of people are going to book, and a lot of people will. I don't know how many people will cancel because it's still new. We'll find out. Time will tell how many people actually book and then cancel. We'll find out in the future. But I can tell you I've had a flexible cancellation policy forever now. And do we get cancellations? Yes, we get cancellations. Are the cancellations high? No, they're not, right? There's one other thing that the other thing here on the marketing component is this. Use this as a marketing tool to get people to book, because a lot of people still don't know this. And I've already said this, and I'm going to repeat this. There's still a large portion of the population that have never booked a short-term rental. Let me say that again. There's a large portion of the population who have never used Airbnb and booked a short-term rental. Now is the time to convert these people. If you are marketing as you should be marketing, use this as a marketing tool. Let people know, hey, book my place, book it now, reserve it now, and pay later, right? It's a great marketing tool. So I firmly believe that you can do that, and then be more specific, right? Because I think the more specific you are in marketing, the better, the more success you're going to have. So here's the people that I highly recommend you market to. Number one, large groups. A lot of large groups will have one person trying to plan it all, and it's difficult to get a group to decide. But when you tell that group, hey, just to reserve it, because you don't have to pay now, and if anything changes in the future, you can cancel. It's a great marketing tool, people. Believe me, it's a great marketing tool. So look for large groups and look for price-sensitive individuals. Said this before. I'm going to repeat it here again. Today's traveler, one of the biggest motivating factors for someone to book is pricing, right? And especially if you're offering better services and more amenities for the same price that your neighbor is, you're going to get booked. So pricing is important. So again, for those price sensitive travelers, this reserve now, pay later is a great tool or a great marketing tool to target them, because you can tell them, hey, reserve it, save your spot now, because as it gets closer, the rate may and most likely will go up. But if it goes down, they can cancel and get the cheaper rate. So it's a great marketing tool, right? Again, let me just recap some of the what you need to be eligible, right? You got to be in the U.S. and you have to have a flexible or a moderate cancellation policy. Airbnb services doesn't apply, and experience doesn't apply to this, right? So make sure you audit that. Now, let's talk about their services. The data's out, people. Now we know what services are important to most travelers. And I'm going to give you a minute to guess what services are more important to travelers. Is it, and I'll give you some options here. And then if you're watching, if you can comment below, see if you can pick it. Is it a chef? Is that one of the biggest services that people are booking? Is it a massage therapist? Is that one? Is it a personal trainer? Is that one? Is it a hairstylist? So those are your 4 options. Which one do you think are in the top? Let's just say the top 2. Pick the top 2, list them below, and I will get back to the top 2 in a second. So here's another, again, going back to marketing, right? And which services you should be marketing. Again, I'm a big fan of services because it gives the guest a better guest experience. And the better the experience is for the guest, the better off you as the host it will be. So number 1, and I said this before for your property, and you should know the answer to this. Number 1 is to define who's your avatar, right? Who's your ideal guest? When you can define that, there's a lot you can do, right? A lot in marketing, but it's also when you can define who your avatar is, you can curate specific services for that individual. So for example, I'm going to give you what the top 2 number 1 services on Airbnb is today. Number 1 is the massage therapist, and number 2 is a personal trainer. More and more people want to, when they go on vacation, they want to relax. That's why they book these massage therapists, but also more and more people are being active. So, and a lot of travelers today are younger, more active individuals, and they're booking personal trainers during their vacations to get some workouts in, right? But massage therapist is number 1. So going back to this specific thing, if your property, right? If your property is, and your avatar is for the health and wellness type of people, by all means, make sure you add that in your options, right? In your welcome email, send them links to massage therapists, to personal trainers. But let's say that is not your avatar. Let's say your avatar is geared more towards family. Then look for services that are family orientated, right? If let's say your property is geared more towards couples, like my property in Georgia, it's more for couples, then I want to look for that private chef, right? That's a good add-on service that I can put on there. More towards private, or not just private, but more towards couples excursions, right? I want to add that to that. So make sure that when you identify your avatar, you give that guest some options of what to get in services. I think that's hugely important. All right. The next thing I want to talk about are bad reviews. And this is going to be the last thing, and then we're going to open it up for questions, right? Listen, the longer you are in this business and the bigger you get, the more likely you will get some bad reviews, because we can't please everyone and we shouldn't be pleasing everyone. Meaning, again, I'm going to go back to your avatar. Your avatar is who you should be focused on. So if you're focused on that avatar, and let's say your property is geared only towards couples and a family books it, that family, that property is not geared for that family. So that family is not going to find a lot of stuff that they may want in a property. So you're probably going to get a bad review. So, but here's what you need to do if you get that bad review. Number one, reach out to that guest, and whatever they put on there, if it's something that you can fix, let them know you're going to fix it. If it's something that's not fixable, so I'm going to give you an example of what's not fixable, right? You can't fix your neighborhood. If somebody goes to your property and doesn't like your neighborhood, you can't fix that, right? So just write to them and tell them, I'm sorry you feel that way about that neighborhood, and point out what's good about that neighborhood and write that in there, right? But if it's something you can fix, apologize for it. Tell them you have fixed it. That issue has been corrected, so that when someone reads that bad review, they can see that it was a one-off and that you took actions in it. But what's important is that you always, without fail, reply to every single good or bad review. You have to reply. That really helps not only the algorithms, but it also helps others who are reading these reviews. Now, keep in mind that most people only read the first 5 reviews, and for example, on most OTAs, they're only going to present the first 5 reviews. The rest get hidden. So if you had a bad review a year ago, don't worry about it, because it's so far deep in the system that no one's going to see it. But don't make sure you do that. Secondly, if really, this is a very big one right here. Really read, memorize, master, learn, whatever you want to, whatever adjective you want to add in there, the policy for reviews. Because if someone violates or writes something that violates the policy, then just reach out to the OTA and tell them to remove it, because it violates the policy. Does it always work? No. Because I can tell you, we had a recent incident in which, for example, Airbnb has a policy that a retaliatory review is against their policy. So we had a guest that gave us a 5-star review, but that guest created some damages in our property, and we kept the security deposit. When the guests found out that we kept the security deposit, they weren't happy. So they went back and rewrote the review, and then wrote a bad review. Gave us a 1-star and wrote a bunch of crap on there. We notified Airbnb, and Airbnb would not take it down. Now we're appealing that, because a lot of times it just depends on who you get as a case handler. So a lot of times just appeal it and you may get a different decision. But I firmly believe that is retaliatory. They gave us a 5-star review, and because we kept the deposit, now they're going to go back and give us a 1-star. Anyway, but understand that that's what's going to happen. The last thing I want to remind you on for reviews is be polite, be professional, provide a solution-focused rebuttal, and I think you'll be fine. All right. I think that's going to be it. Lorena, do we have any questions? Or did I lose everyone?
Hi, can you hear me?
Now I can hear you.
Perfect. I love them. I love the question, because they must be like, or marketing is like related with marketing. So I like it. So there are like 4, I think. So go with the first one. Someone asked, I honestly don't have the time to create content. How do you do it?
Okay, great question. If you don't have time to create content, then you need to hire a content creator company or media company. And I highly recommend you hire us, obviously, right? So, and you have to do it, man. Listen, I just before doing this live stream, we were on a sales call with a potential client, and they have a very small footprint on social media. They never thought social media was important, but they want to grow. And I'm repeating what I already said in the beginning of this video. Marketing is the most important part for any business, but we understand that if you're new, you should focus on running the business, right? That's what your primary focus is. I've always said this, and I'm going to say this again. You, especially if you are the owner, CEO of your company, don't wear all hats. In fact, you shouldn't wear all hats because there's no way you can do that. You can't be good at everything. So hire out in the areas you're not good at, and marketing should be something that you're really not good at because that's not your primary business. So hire that part out. Hope I answered your question.
Perfect. Okay, the next one is from Valentina from Orlando. She said, people say paid ads are the best strategy. In your company, what do you think is better, ads or organic content?
Now, organic. Okay, let me quantify or qualify that, right? Paid ads are good, but for specific for something specific, right? Don't do paid ads to grow your followers. That doesn't work. Don't do paid ads or generic paid ad. That doesn't work. Paid ads should be, and I'll give you an example what a paid ad should be. If you have, and let's talk about short-term rentals, right? If you have an event that's coming up, a specific event, and you want to promote that specific event, then a paid ad is okay. Then you can do a paid ad for that, right? If you have a property that you just remodeled or a project that you want people to know about, then you can do a paid ad for that. But the paid ad has to be very specific. You have to know your numbers. This is why I think it's highly important that you hire a marketing company, because they're going to know the important stuff like the demographics, the geographic area in which to target. They have all the analytics they need to create a ad that's going to be successful. Because I see a lot of people. So, for example, Instagram. Instagram is a company. They want to make money. And how do they make money? They tell you to boost a specific post. That's a waste of money, people. When you boost a specific post, it's too broad, too general. You're not specific enough to get a good return on it. Can you get lucky? Yes, but chances are you're not going to get lucky by boosting a specific post. It's got to be a targeted ad. Hope that answered the question.
Perfect. Okay. Question. I have followers. I get good views. People even reach out to the DM, but she is not closing any sales. What should I do differently? She's like she's getting stuff, but she's not closing.
Yeah, that's a complicated question, right? You got to identify clearly the first thing. If you're getting leads and you're not closing those leads, you have to do something different. And what that different is, I don't know without personally talking to you and figure out what you're doing, but I can give you a general broad overview, right? First, ask yourself, how is your presentation, right? Is your presentation fluid? Are you asking to close the deal, right? Have you been practicing your scripts on what to say, what objections you're going to get, and practicing how you're going to handle those objections. The sales process is I don't think the sales process is a difficult process, but what makes it difficult is that you have to understand the sales process, right? There's tons of sales books, workshops, you name it. There's a lot of them. But when you look at all those programs and you look at all the books, they all follow the same script, right? The same few steps you have to take. Number one, you have to be very comfortable with what you're selling. You have to believe in what you're selling, because when you believe it, when you have passion about it, that comes out, and people see that, and they can feel that, right? So that's number one. Number two is you better know everything better than anyone else, right? Whatever product you're selling, right? And let's talk about real estate agents. Real estate agents, one of the reasons why they struggle closing leads is because, number one, they're not practicing, they're not role playing, they don't know what script to follow, and they're not following the script, period, right? And then number two is they're not the experts in their field. Meaning, I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to give a shout out to Steve Romanello, right? He is a luxury real estate agent here in South Florida, specifically the Fort Lauderdale area. But that guy's like Rain Man, right? If he's like, for example, he sells $1 million, like multi-million dollar homes, but he can tell you every number related to the demographic in that area. They can tell, if most of the properties are on, the ocean or the waterway, they're intercoastal. He can tell you the depth of the water, how many, what boat ramp you can put on there, what dock you can have. I mean, the guy is a walking encyclopedia related to properties. And when he gets a property, that boy knows every inch of that property. That's how you have to be. You have to be obsessed about your product. And when you're obsessed about it and you know it, it's easy to sell. It's difficult to sell when you're not. And when you're not confident in you, that becomes very difficult. Again, I'm not saying that's your case. I don't know you. I don't know. We haven't had that one-on-one conversation. But in general, usually that's the case.
Perfect. And I think that is the last one is like, we run a construction company. What marketing strategy would you recommend to help us attract more clients?
Wow, I got a lot. It's funny because we have the sales call that we just finished having before coming on here is for a construction company. So, I mean, for marketing, it's tough, but I'm gonna guide you to this. Give back. How do you give back, right? This is what I mean by giving back. Do a lot of tutorial videos, how to, right? I don't know what kind of construction you do, but let's say that you do tiles, you lay tiles. Talk about your expertise in that. What's trending, what type of tiles are best to put on what type of floor. Talk about the durability of the difference between marble, porcelain. Give back, give your knowledge to the viewer. And I think that is the best route, because when you're giving to someone, you're going to get something in return. And more importantly, when you give and when you teach, it shows you're an expert in that field. And people want to work with people that they believe are experts, right? So that's my best advice I can give you, again, without having a one-on-one conversation, getting into the nitty-gritty. I think in general, that's the best thing to do. And I think those type of videos do very well on social media, but more importantly, they do very well on YouTube. And YouTube being the second search engine in the world, next to Google, and it's owned by Google. I think that will give you a larger reach in terms of potential clients, and in turn will get you more clients. All right, my beautiful people, that being the last question. Again, don't forget about the ebook. Subscribe to this channel and my Wad Hustle channel if you are interested in this content. I don't need more subscribers. I need more people engaged. That's what I want. Go ahead, and if you're watching this on replay, go ahead and comment. Let me know where you're watching from. I love you guys. I'll see you next week.